Closed Chapters by John Philip. The first pages turned in provincial green, where I was 14 and she 17. Jennifer was a sweet love that remains, a boy's first walk through love's early lanes. I gave her a heart that was eager and new, but I was too young and I never quite knew how to hold a love that I misunderstood. She left me behind in the provincial wood. Then Aura appeared when the 16 years chimed, two young students whose clocks were well timed. With high school behind us and worlds to achieve, we built up the dreams we wanted to believe. But the goals we made for the futures we planned led to different paths, out of each other's hand. Ambition took over what we used to share, and left our young love completely bare. At 17, college brought Chris to my side, a comfort from storms where a boy couldn't hide. She listened to stories of my broken past, and held up my head when the shadows were cast. Though the doctor's coat was a dream left behind, she guided my steps to the job we could find. From rank-and-file days to the manager's chair, we climbed up together, a hard-working pair. But 5 years of love were broken and torn by a weakness of mine on the day I was born. At 22 years, by the errors I made, I watched the best thing I had wither and fade. Then Melrose walked in, so confident, sweet, a beautiful girl I was happy to meet. I thought of a wedding, a ring, and a vow, but the map of her town brought a cloud to my brow. Afraid of a place that was completely new, I struggled to weigh what I needed to do. To pull her to my place, or move to her space. Fear and anxiety ended the race. The clock hurried on, and the office became a mountain of work that I used for a name. Through palsy and stress, under heavy work strain, I met young Cheryl in the midst of the pain. Everything went too fast in the night, a sudden new life in a hurried flight. Then trauma struck deep, and the cradle grew cold, a sorrow so heavy for two hearts to hold. Though two blessed children would later arrive, the marriage itself could no longer survive. At 33, darkness was chased by a spark, when 19-year Tintin stepped into the dark. A classmate whose youth made me feel young again, an up-and-down love through the sun and the rain. But everything changed when the light left my eyes, and the world turned to shadow beneath empty skies. She chased her ambitions and went on her way, while I stayed in depression day after day. For 15 long years in the silence I lay, till Lilibeth chanced to walk into my day. Another blind person who walked without sight. We shared the same scars from the very same fight. But two negative sides of a magnet we found will push each other back when they're set on the ground. Our stories were common, our survival was real, but the wall of our tempers refused to unseal. At 49 years, a new story began, when sweet, confident Leanne walked into my span. A blind single mother, a comforting light. I thought she would stay for the rest of my night. But she had not moved on from her past love, I knew, and she was not ready to welcome me too. I cannot stay with someone not ready to care, or accept the true love that I wanted to share. So through intense prayers in the quiet and still, I give up my heart to a heaven-bound will. I decide to close up this book of my past, no longer to seek a love that won't last. I close up the chapters of earthly desire, to give my whole life to a holier fire. I promise my perfect God, faithful and true, to love Him and serve Him in all that I do. For the rest of my blind life, His grace is my guide, with unceasing prayers for the family at my side.